Hey there, everyone. Michael Demond here, back with some more starbeam.one content for you. And we're just going through this product tour as fast as we can. This is, as I record this, we are now the day of launch right now, February 22nd, 2022 to 2022. And that was by design when I circled a launch date. And here we are. For better or for worse. And so now what we're doing is a product tour, and we're just going to kick right through this. And we're going to go and start learning how to produce content. And we'll start with creating a sales profile. That's the first step. So that's what this is going to demonstrate. And let's begin here. All right. So here we are in the profile, getting back to our account icon here in the top right with our heads up display. Just click on that and that'll take you to your profile. And part of your profile, kind of just briefly going over this, is you can change your username. You have your username here, and you also have your email addresses that are registered with starbeam.one. And what this does is it allows allows us to communicate with you in the case that you want to. So that's sort of like an opt-in feature. We don't grab your email in any way. We may take your hash if you authenticate with a provider that provides that, but that's the only way that we get your email. So we do not store your email in our system unless you explicitly specify. That's one of the things about OAuth 2 that does kind of get lost in there, is that OAuth 2 providers do provide emails, and applications and systems just readily store it, right? And that's kind of, you should make sure that you understand that you're storing your email, and you should have control over that sort of thing. So that's kind of how I feel about it. So you don't, we don't store your email unless you explicitly tell us to. So moving on from there, we have the details that are provided from your OAuth provider as a general description and whatnot, and then you can edit that. We'll get into that in another session here, but for now we are going here to this marketplace profile. This is where the magic happens in this regard. So we are going to go to this section here, marketplace profile, and we click on that. Okay, so as a sale profile, this is the sales / marketplace. This is interchangeably the same thing. And as a profile, this is an opt-in feature, right? So part of the challenge here as getting back to a public OAuth 2 provider, which I'm signed in with Twitter, is you can be either a collector or a creator, right? And so, by default, you are a collector. And so if you want to become a creator, it's a promotion process. So we are going to promote this profile as a creator, and that's what this screen does. If you cannot upgrade your account, then it shows something else. It says this. If you cannot, so let's say that I sign in with Microsoft, right? It's going to show something. It's going to show a different screen here that says you cannot upgrade, and this is why you need to sign in with a public authenticator, right? You need to sign in with a public OAuth 2 provider such as Twitter, which is what I'm signed in now, and it will provide the Twitter account that you are signed in with here, and this is what it's telling you. This is who you're going to publish your content under this identity. So we are now going to promote, and also keep in mind that you cannot reverse this. So once you promote your account to a sales marketplace profile and you are a creator account, then that is done, and you cannot go back from that. It's sort of, you have upgraded sort of thing. But there are controls there to basically make it so that you never did that. You can disable that, and we'll get into how that works here. So go ahead and promote. And it's going to ask you to confirm, and just click OK. And there we go. Just a real simple process. Now it takes you to your sales marketplace profile. Now also notice that our HUD has a new icon because you mean business now, right? You've got that briefcase and you mean business. And so that is what that is about. Now you've got your briefcase, you got your new sales marketplace profile, and that's what this screen is. And kind of just kind of going over this is sort of like your secondary profile sort of thing, and it has all sorts of features and functions. And what I just mentioned is that if you don't want to do this anymore, if you don't want this to be a sales profile, just click disable here, and then that will do the trick. That will basically say that will make it it will basically turn everything off for your sales. It will remove all product from the marketplace and act like as if nothing happened. If you sell a product, of course, that is still out there, but we're wanting to capture the same paradigm of selling product in a real world, physical world marketplace, and that will happen. So someone purchases a product, it's out there, you can't get that back unless you purchase it back, but for the most part, that is done, and your profile stays. So with your profile, you just disable that, and what happens is that essentially all of your product is discontinued, is no longer available for purchase. It's still there, but it's just discontinued for purchase, so no one can view any of the storefronts, and no one can view your sales marketplace profile. So hopefully that makes sense. It's basically just like removing your profile, but it still exists, sort of thing. So that's how that works. And so we'll get into these beneficiaries in a later recording. But for now, what we're going to do is we're going to examine, in this session, we're going to look at definitions and assets. Remember, because we're getting back to this notion of having a personal printing press, right? And these definitions are those printing plates to your personal printing press. And that's what we're going to do now. So we're going to click on definitions. All right, here we go. We got this is our new printing plate, right? This is a product definition. And so what we're going to do here is kind of just give you a really quick tour of all the properties here. Now, this product definition is a printing plate, right? That's how you kind of look at it. So this is used to issue new content out, and these are like the root values. So whenever you need to produce more, this is where all of those values are derived from. So we have title, description, identifier is actually used for the storefront to access this for each issuance, and we'll get into how that works. And we have the price for each unit of sale. For each license that is sold, that is the price for that license. And also remember, you get 100% of that asking price, so price accordingly. And kind of just going through here, there's a container, right? So containers is that's the packaging, right? So in the case of a CD, that would be everything but the content. So this would be the content here. This kind of going with the analogy, the CD itself would be the content, and then everything else is the packaging or container, right? So keep that in mind. And also kind of going through this, it's not very evident, but this does exist. This is a templated system. So there's a whole system around these templates. So everything you see is templated. And the idea is going forward, we will have creators creating templates for our products. And that is how we've got this design, is that we have templates for the container, for the packaging, and then we have templates for the content itself. So over time, hopefully that'll make a little bit more sense, but just know that there are templated, is basically for both the packaging and content can be templated and customized, and we'll go through this and kind of demonstrate how that works. And kind of just going through this for the container, for the packaging, we've already seen this with a cover. So if you want to provide a cover, that's what this is for here. You can provide a cover, and if you do not provide one, a very basic one is provided for you for the alpha, and it'll be a little bit better for the actual release. So right now it's the preview. The preview has that one that is not so pretty, but for the actual release in April, maybe May, but for here in April will be a little bit prettier. Then we can also provide the background image as well, and if not, the one that is you saw there with the starbeam.one Starfield is used instead. And kind of going here with the preview. Preview is kind of like the cover, and this is kind of shown for the thumbnail, right? So anytime that this is used to kind of just say, if you kind of let this is the icon you click on for this issuance or this product that produces those issuance, that's what is used. And so if you do not provide a preview, don't worry about it. We just take a thumbnail of the cover that is derived for this product. So this is like the source, right? This is the printing plates. The printing plates create new prints, right? And that's kind of keep that in mind. This is what is loaded into the printing press, and we're just taking that analogy and it produces product from that. So just keep that in mind. That's the whole inspiration for this idea. And then content template, we'll get into how that works. This is the actual content. So am I making an image or am I making a text file sort of thing? And in this case, I'm going to be publishing a text file. So let's begin here, right? So I have a name for this. It's a little doodaddy that I put together, and it's called Gin. It's kind of inspired from a film that I saw, just a line. It was called Pink Gin. I was just random, and I just went with that. For personally, as an artist, all of my titles have one syllable, so that's just kind of fit with the theme that I was going through, and just went with that randomly, right? That's just kind of how I operate. Description. This is my first alpha preview. Release in real time. And so you can see my identifier is Gin there. And I'm not going to get too fancy here. I'm just going to charge $1 for this. I would actually calculate this. Actually, I am going to calculate it. Just one second. Okay, I did calculate this. So I do have that number. This is kind of like a live stream here. You have to, have patience with me getting through all of this because there's very little time. So I did some calculations here, and if you recall during the introduction videos, there is a per unit hour of work, and in my case, it's about 12. I was spending about a day and a half, and that's not like full hour days. It's just like how art works. It just kind of evolves, and it's about from start to finish, there's about a day and a half. And if my figure was 0.033, so I just took that times 12. A full day of work is 8 hours. That's traditionally how that works, and I did a day and a half, so that's 12 hours. So I took that 0.033 and then multiplied that by 12, and that is my figure for my unit there. So I'm going to be charging that per unit, and that's what that is. So now we can move on to, I'm going to say, welcome to my amazing product. Published in real time. All right, there we go. Okay, let's get to the good stuff here. Now we're going to go to the content, right? And here we can select what type this is. So if you put a JPEG together or a PNG, that's what this would be, or a text file. In my case, that's what we're going to select. But here's also other ones. We have a basic audio track, so if you produce music, you can select that for the MVP. And we also have this illustrated text. Unfortunately, I do not have a cool image to associate with this. It's just a poem, and we're just going to do text here. So I'm going to select basic text, and now this produces its own set of templated parameters. And in this case, it's just going to be a simple text file, and it's going to prompt. And unfortunately, you cannot see me select this, so I'm just going to click through this real quick and select that. And here it is. And so it's going to load that. And here we go. We can see this is basically an asset. This is a field that is part of that template I was talking about. So this is a content template now that CD. So getting back to our product definition, we've got our product now. Now we're defining this thing, right? So this is what we're defining, and that's the content. And so this has its own set of parameters, and you can see that here. And so we are going through that, and there is no preview for a text file, but if we do click on it, it kind of loads that. Unfortunately, I'm in the way, but you can see that you can get into the, oops, now I have made a mess. Just okay. All right. So I actually had another copy of that open already. So that's what that was. And now we can get back to this. And here we are. So if you want to preview it, you can see exactly what that's going to look like. And here is that link as well. These revisions, we'll get into that with the assets probably at a later point, because I'm really taking a long time here. Hopefully you're getting some value out of this. And another property, getting back to those templates, we can specify pages so that every n number of lines create a new page sort of thing from this text file. It's just one page, so we're just going to not involve that at all. And so there we go. I believe we have all of the properties established here, and we can create our own product. I'm just going to kind of do a review here real quickly. That looks good. Let's see. All right. Okay. That looks beneficiaries. Just another. We will get into that with another recording here. And now I'm going to click create, and let's see what happens. Awesome. Okay, now we have a printing plate. We can issue new content from this new inventory, and kind of getting back to that, we can click on this to edit it if we would like. And this is how this works, right? So now if we want to adjust the price here or something of that nature, we can edit that. We can also archive it if we like. So right now it's visible, and if we want to archive it, we would check that and then save it, and then that would hide it from our list from that page. So I'm just going to click cancel, and we can also delete it if we'd like. But I'm going to click cancel here and go back to this list, because this is sort of the view of all of the printing plates that we have defined for our profile here. So hopefully that makes a little sense, and that is how we create our printing plates for our printing press. Really quickly, I just want to say, in addition to our printing plates for our personal printing press, we also have our assets. So one thing that happens here as part of that workflow is that we create our assets and define our assets. And our assets are what make us money, right? These appreciate in value over time, and kind of that's why we call them assets. But they're files, right? These are the conceptual files that can be used to plug and play. So once you upload an asset, these can be used in other printing plates if you would like, and other definitions. So kind of just be aware of that. These are there, and sort of getting into that sort of revisions. So the whole point of revisions, getting into GitHub or source control sort of thing, we can add additional files. So if I am typing something, I have a typo, now I want to add a new revision, I can do that here and then select that accordingly. And going forward, just note that these are assets, so other people at some point can use these assets if you choose to do so. So we can establish policies around these assets, and can be used for collaboration going forward sort of thing. And so that's why we're calling these assets, because they do have value, and they do appreciate in value, sort of providing value to you in the sense that they can be used for sales in collaborations and your own work sort of thing. And so that's kind of how that works. And we're going to cancel here, just keep things simple. Well, I guess just kind of going a little bit more into the revisions. That's what that is. So if you want to add a new revision, if you want to, you would add that here, and then you could use that. You can pin that. So for, kind of going in the future to denote like anyone that would use this asset would use this revision by default sort of thing. Okay, so I'm going to cancel out and get back to this screen. Hopefully that makes sense. And this is your sales profile, and here you got control over your assets, and then also the definitions that are using those assets, and you can get those definitions and produce inventory, which we will get into next. All right, cool. Hopefully that makes sense. I will see you there.